All right. Welcome, welcome. Our we were just chatting before class, and today is going to be extra floor work day. Extra floor work, extra stretching, extra strengthening, spending some extra time on the mat today. So we'll have to, after class is over, we'll have to think of a name for it. Would you? We're very good at labeling things, but eventually we'll think of a name. We're just going to do it first, and then worry about the details later. But for our breath work today, we have an extra opportunity in the studio here to count the drips. It's been raining last night, and when the buckets are out here in the studio, we count the drips. And we're going to do a 2-drip inhale and a 3-drip exhale. And if you're following along at home, it's going to be about 3-4 seconds on the inhale, 5 or 6 seconds on the exhale. We can just count quietly to ourselves. And really the main thing here is just inhaling a little deeper and extending the exhale out a little longer. So we're gonna sit tall in our seats, and I invite you to close your eyes, or if it's soft gaze downward. And picking your own start time. We are just inhaling during the sound of 2 drips into the bucket, and slowly extending that exhale out for at least 2, maybe 3 drips. Taking just one more round here. And returning to the natural rhythm of your breath. Just taking a second to sit with that. Are we feeling a little calmer? Have we slowed things down? It's quite wonderful turning the possibly annoying drips of the bucket into breath work, not worrying about the counting, and even the drips even slowed a little during this. So we were actually deepening our inhales and exhales during that opening. That was really good. Thank you, Rain. From here, staying with the natural rhythm of our breath. On your next inhale, we're inhaling into that cow pose, squeezing shoulder blades together, raising the gaze. And as we exhale, tucking chin to chest, rounding the spine, pulling shoulder blades apart. And then again, inhaling all the way through that cow pose. And extending that exhale all the way through that cat back stretch. And taking a couple more at your pace. Connecting your breath with your movement. After that last exhale, we're inhaling back up to that tall, neutral spine, and then wiggling out our sitting bones. And on your next inhale, we're inhaling both arms up overhead. And then as we exhale, we're twisting right. That right hand is coming behind. The back left hand finds the outside of the right knee. And when it does, we take that breath in, sit tall. And as we exhale, gaze over the opposite shoulder, press away, generate the twist. And your next inhale, both arms slowly coming up overhead as that spine uncurls. And as we exhale, we're twisting left hand coming behind. Right hand find the outside of that left leg. When it does, breath in, sit tall, and maybe generate that twist using that right hand. Gazing over the opposite shoulder. And then on your next inhale, we're slowly uncurling both arms coming up overhead. As we exhale, we're dropping right hand down and then leaning left arm over towards the right. Placing hand on the hip, the chair, the mat. Maybe adding little shoulder circles here. And then on your next inhale, that right arm comes up overhead. And then as we exhale, switching sides, dropping that left hand down, hip, chair, mat. Reaching that right arm over. Maybe adding those little shoulder circles here. And again, your next inhale, both arms coming up overhead. And we're exhaling, hands coming down through heart center. And then we're making our way to standing. Props at the top of the mat chair with the seat facing us. Maybe blocks by our sides. Pedaling the feet out. Finding that mountain pose. Spreading the toes wide. Eyes can be closed here. Soft gaze downward. Ripping the toes into the mat. And then check on that slight bend in the knees. Your quads active. The pelvis slightly tilted in. The spine tall. Shoulders relaxed and down. Fingers floating. Chin parallel. And finding your breath. Saying good morning to it, saying hello to the breath. And this is the breath we want to attempt to keep throughout the practice. 60 to 70% effort. When we get beyond that, we might feel the breath become a little labored, a little quicker. Maybe we start exhaling out the mouth or inhaling out the mouth, slow and steady, in and out the nose. And your next inhale, we're inhaling both arms up overhead. Exhaling, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, and just hanging out, first forward fold. Giving that time under tension to that low back and checking in with yourself, with your body. Do we want to put weight in the heels, weight in the toes, rocking back and forth, maybe grabbing opposite elbows? Letting the arms sway left and right. Maybe just stillness this morning. Maybe we just bring our attention to our fingertips and allow each exhale to create a little space. Let them sink a little closer to the floor. And taking one more big breath in here. And out. And then next inhale, we're slowly uncurling, soft bend the knees, and our spine is just rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Shoulders, neck, head, last thing to arrive back in mountain pose. We exhale, shoulders back and down, inhaling, both arms up. Overhead, exhaling, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhaling to half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, placing hands, left foot steps back, followed by the right, pressing hips up and back. Finding that first downward dog, pressing away through the palms. Maybe we're pedaling out the feet. Another time to check in and notice, where might you need to spend that extra attention today? Can we dip the head down? Can we get the biceps squeeze in the ears? Can we create that nice long line, tailbone to fingers, tailbone to heels? Raising the hips up. Taking one more big breath in here. And as we exhale, sinking heels down, pressing away. And then next inhale, gazing at the hands, soft bend the knees, or slowly walking feet up to meet the hands. And exhaling into the forward fold. Inhaling, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Next inhale, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up, maybe finding that slight back bend at the top. And then exhaling, hands to heart center. One breath in and return to mountain. Pedaling out the feet, getting the wiggles out. Eventually returning to that stillness, finding that breath. Your next inhale, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, placing hands, right foot steps back, followed by the left, pressing hips up and back. Into that downward dog, finding that stretch, finding that length in the arms, dipping that head down, one more breath in and out. And then next inhale, we're floating out to plank. Pausing right here, shoulders over the wrists, pressing away through the palms, feeling those shoulder blades pull apart, engaging the core, nice long line, heels to the crown of the head. One more breath in here. And then as we exhale, slowly lowering, elbows brushing the rib cage. Inhaling into that upward dog, straightening the arms, raising the gaze, and exhale, hips up and back. Downward dog, another big breath in. And out. And next inhale, soft bend the knees, gazing at the hands, slowly walking feet up. And exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Next inhale, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up, maybe. Finding that slight back bend at the top and exhaling, hands to heart center. And again, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, placing hands, left foot steps back, followed by the right, pressing hips up and back. Downward dog, inhaling here, right leg raises. As we exhale, knee to nose, stepping it through. And now a couple options here. If we're using blocks or the mat, we can leave our foot right where it's at. If we're using that chair to place the hands, we definitely want to angle that out a little bit. And then on our next inhale, we're going to dip in to that knee. And we do this one a lot, but today we're just going to hold. We're going to hold right here. Getting right into those stretches. And we can walk that back foot back. We want to add a little more intensity or still have the toes tucked on that left foot. One more breath in. And then as we exhale, straightening that right leg, tucking chin to chest, rounding the spine. And then we're going to hold right here, saying good morning to that hamstring, playing into slightly bending, straightening that leg. One more breath in. And staying right here for that exhale. And then your next inhale, we're returning to that bent knee. Now we're pulsing. Now we're moving through, inhaling, slowly dipping in. And then on your exhale, pressing away. Pulsing in between these two now, connecting your breath with your movement. Just a couple more rounds here. On your next inhale, we're dipping back in and then holding here again. One more big breath in. And then as we exhale, straightening that right leg, tucking chin to chest, rounding the spine, maybe toes raised on that right foot. And then we're pausing right here. 3 big breaths in and out. Another inhale and exhale. One more time, big deep breath in. And staying right here for the exhale. And inhale, returning to that high lunge base, placing the right foot down, gazing forward, exhaling. Left foot steps up to meet the right and fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. And next inhale, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up, maybe finding that slight back bend at the top and exhaling, hands to heart center. And other side, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, left foot steps back, followed by the right, pressing hips up and back. Finding that downward dog, pedaling out the feet. Pressing away through the palms, finding that extension, finding that stretch, and then your next inhale, left leg rises. Exhaling, knee to nose, stepping it through. Mat or blocks can stay right where it's at. If we're using that chair, we're going to angle that left foot out and then check on our right foot as well. Do we have any room? Can we scoot that right foot back? And then on your next inhale, we're dipping in and holding right here. Raising the gaze, shoulder blades slightly squeezed together. Wonderful, wonderful. Staying with your breath. Your next exhale. Straightening that left leg, tucking chin to chest, rounding the spine. And then playing into that left hamstring, maybe slightly bending, straightening that knee. Does not have to be the most intense stretch, just saying hello, finding that stretch we can hold with stillness in the breath, stillness in the body. And your next inhale, we begin taking those pulses. 60 seconds, moving with your breath, connecting your breath with your movement. Taking these as fast or as slow as would feel good for you. And still opportunity, still explore those pauses. You're enjoying those stretches. Finishing up our last round, and on your next inhale, as we dip forward and pause here, maybe feeling like we've created a little more space. Can we sink in a little more after those pulses? Walk that back foot back, sink into that knee a little bit more. One more breath in. And then as we exhale, straight, pressing away through the palms, straightening the arms, straightening the left leg, tucking chin to chest, rounding the spine, and finding that left hamstring stretch, playing into that left knee again. Our next inhale, we're returning to that high lunge base, bringing the left foot back to the mat, right foot coming up onto the toe pads. We're looking forward on an inhale. As we exhale, right foot steps up to meet the left, and fold. Inhale, half lift flat back. Exhale, fold. Next inhale, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up, maybe finding that slight back bend at the top. And exhaling, hands to heart center. One breath in, and return to mountain. Pedaling the feet out from here. One more standing series. Inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift flat back. Exhale, fold, placing hands, right foot steps back, followed by the left, pressing hips up and back. Downward dog, inhaling, right leg rises. Exhale, knee to nose, stepping it through. And now again, beginning to play into our edge. Do we have any room to walk that left foot back? We're floating our hands and then rising on an inhale. Sinking in as we exhale. Another breath in, lengthening, reaching, stretching, fingers tall. And then on our exhale, we're opening up warrior two. We're dropping that back heel, arms out to a T, gazing over right middle fingers. And then beginning to check. Do we have any room? Can we scoot that left foot back at all? Turning this whole standing series into a hip opener, into a leg strengthener. Gonna get ourselves in that position where we feel like we're working, finding our edge. And then next inhale, flip the front palm, lean forward. Exhale. Reversing that warrior, choosing the gaze, adding the neck stretch, 2 big breaths in here. And out, one last inhale, reaching back deep into that side bend. Then as we exhale, we're cartwheeling over, right forearm finds the right thigh, left arm, bicep to ear, and reach and stretch. Find that length, maybe drop that right arm down. Generate that twist. And your next inhale, we're rising back up to that warrior two, gazing over right middle fingers, taking another breath in here. Stretching the arms out. And always staying with your breath on your next inhale. We're dropping that left arm down, pivoting left foot forward, and then raising both arms up to that high crescent line. And then as we exhale, slowly lowering with control. Wonderful transition there when our hands arrive. Right foot steps back to meet the left. Pressing hips up and back, downward dog. Big breath in and out. Next inhale, option to flow. Inhaling out to plank. Exhale, slowly lower, elbows brushing the rib cage. Inhaling, upward dog. Exhale, hips up and back. Downward dog. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, knee to nose. Stepping it through. Now we may already feel our feet at our edge, floating our hands, and then rising on an inhale. Sinking in as we exhale, high up on the toe pads of that back foot, engaging that back calf. Arms are reaching strength all the way through the fingers. One more breath in, reaching for the ceiling. And then as we exhale, opening up, warrior two. Dropping that back heel, arms out to a T. We're gazing over that left middle finger. Your next inhale, flip the front palm, lean forward. Exhale, reversing that warrior, adding that neck stretch, choosing the gaze. Breathing into that left side body. One more breath in, reaching that left arm overhead. And then as we exhale, finding that extended side angle, cartwheeling over, left forearm, left thigh, right arm, bicep to ear. Find that extension. The nice long line, fingers to toes on the right side, armpit, palm spinning down. Maybe we're dropping that left hand down, generating that twist. Your next inhale, we're rising up. Back to that warrior two, settling in as we exhale. Another breath in. Reaching the fingers. Relaxing the shoulders on that exhale. And then your next inhale, that right arm spins down. Right foot pivots forward and finding maybe that slight back bend. Beautiful. Exhaling, slowly lowering with control. Placing hands. Left foot steps back to meet the right, pressing hips up and back, downward dog, big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Next inhale, option to float, floating out to plank. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. Another breath in and out. Next inhale, gazing at the hands, soft bend the knees, slowly walking feet up. As we do, feet are coming to the edge of the mat, heels in, toes out. And when we arrive, we're exhaling into squat. Maybe pulsing up and down here, maybe wiggling hips side to side, maybe finding some stillness. Take another breath or two here, and then when you are ready, making our way down onto the mats. And we are going to use bolsters today. And if you don't have a bolster at home, pillow will work fine, or probably two pillows stacked on top of each other. But we're going to start with blocks at the top of our mat, right by our ankles. And sitting tall, kind of in staff pose here. Palms are down. Always option to prop the hips up. But here we're going to work hamstring or work hip flexors a little bit. We're tapping the block with our heel, tapping outside. Tap the block and tap in for one, and then switching sides. We're going to do 12 of these, 6 each side. Maybe one more each side. We started on that right side, finishing on the left. Shaking the legs out. And then back to the right foot on our next inhale. The right leg is gonna hover. We're gonna hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then little hip circle, ankle circles. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and reverse. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly lower. Wiggling that out, switching sides. Next inhale, left leg rises. Holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then little circles for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and reverse. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly lower. Shaking that out from here. We're gonna bend our knees and we're gonna come down onto our elbows. The knees are bent, we're on our elbows, and then kind of scoot the bum around, scoot the low back around. We want that lumbar nice and flat here. Then we're extending just the right leg up and now raising the leg up, just bringing the knees to equal height. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And slowly lower and switching sides, bringing that right leg down, extending that left out, and then 12 little leg raises. Just bringing the knees to equal height. And slowly lower. Pressing ourselves back up to seated and finding our bolster. And we're going to bring this to the side of our mats. And I'm going to do the first one this way so we can all see. We're just coming down. I'm on my left side. And we're going to come all the way down onto the elbow, resting your head on your hand, extending your bottom leg straight and bringing that opposite knee up on the bolster. Kind of in a very, very relaxed position here. And we're going to work that bottom leg, this left leg. My right knee propped up. It's going to be bolster pillow, flexing the left foot and then raising that left leg up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, now this time we're gonna raise it up and then we're just gonna hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly lower. Now we're gonna scoot that left leg back towards the opposite side of our mat. Just kind of open our legs up a little wider and then 12 more lifts with that left leg pointed a little bit towards the opposite side of the mat. Two more here. Oh, and resting it down. From here, we're gonna scoot our bolster away a little bit. And then we're gonna have our knees and hips stacked. Now this is like a clam. We're gonna just open and close that top leg. We're raising it up. Not really, I guess not really like a clam. We're raising the whole thing up. The ankle is raising and the knees are raising. One more. Resting that leg down. And then from here, now we're gonna keep our ankles together. Ankles are kind of touching and opening both the knees. And then we're gonna touch the knees together and raise the ankles. So kind of ankles touch, knees separated, knees touch, ankles separated, and just playing into this. Two more. And extending the legs long, stretching it out, rolling onto our backs. Intuitive movements, full body stretch, double knee hug, single knee hug, a little butterfly. Anything that would feel good for you. Take a second, intuitive movements, release. And then eventually making our way to the other side. Switching side. And when we do, pulling that bolster back in, starting out with it up close to the mat, making our way down, elbow on the mat, hand supporting the head, knee on top of the bolster, top leg, left leg on top of the bolster. And then here, getting those 12 low leg lifts, raising that right leg up. One more, and then raising it up, keeping that last one hovering for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lowering. Now kicking that right foot back towards the opposite end of the mat, and then 12 little leg lifts here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Resting that leg down, scooting that bolster out, bending the knees, hips, knees, ankles stacked, and then we're just raising that top leg and then slowly lower. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Lowering it down. Now here we're bringing ankles together and then knees together. Raising just the knees apart, ankles are touching, and then knees together, ankles raised. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, Excellent, excellent. Rolling onto our backs and grabbing a block. Maybe straps within hand's reach as well. And on our backs with knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat. Leave the block within reach. We're going to start out with arms out at a T, floating the feet, bringing knees to about 90-degree bend, toes are pointed, and we're going to start out with single toe taps, keeping that 90-degree bend in the knee and just tapping one toe down, raising it back up for 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Double knee hug. Pull the knees in, roll it out, little self massage. And then with those knees pulled in, we're going to release the knees. Keep those knees in the chest though and grab our block. And then here, we're going to be passing the block from our hands to our feet. So we have our knees in here. So to start out, we're going to pass that block from our hands to our feet and then extend feet and arms long as we can. And then bring that block back in, grab it from the feet into the hands, and extend it out for 1. There we go. And just switch and block from feet to hand. And there's 2. And 3. And 4. And 5. One more. Block finishing in the hand for 6. And rest it down. Bend the knees, soles of the feet on the mat, maybe windshield wiper, maybe double knee hug here. What would feel good for you? Evening out both sides if we're taking those windshield wipers. Grabbing that block one last time. Block in between the thighs. Raise the knees up towards 90. Arms out at a T. As we exhale, we're twisting right, and we have an option here. For core work, let the legs hover. Keep the legs hovering, maybe add that kick out, maybe extending legs long. And while we're here, using your breath, we come back to those slow, steady, natural rhythm of the breath. We let the tension out of the eyes, the forehead, the temples, the cheeks, the jaw. When things get hard, we have a tendency to tense up, but sometimes we can soften in and get through it just the same. And then on your next inhale, we're bending the knees and then using the core, bringing the knees up over the hips, rolling out that lumbar. And then as we exhale, twisting left, gazing right, maybe feet hover. Maybe we extend the legs straight, add that kick out, let gravity work for us. Adding a little bit to this one. Here for one more big breath in and out. And next inhale, bending the knees, using the core. Knees come up over the hips, removing the block Soles of the feet find the mat, release. However your body is asking you to. Maybe we like the windshield wipers, maybe the double knee hug. Take a second. Find those intuitive movements. And then eventually lower the soles of the feet back down, extending the legs long. Blocking the hand and overhead one more time. We're not passing it. We're just using it as a pendulum. We're taking a big breath in here. And then as we exhale, swinging that block towards the feet and rising up. And when we do, swinging our legs around back and coming down onto our tummies. Getting ready to hopefully stretch out the core a little bit, but we're definitely going to hit the back. Core and back go together like peanut butter and jelly. We're bringing chin down to the mat. Palms mid-chest. Walking the legs long. Tops of the feet on the mat. On an inhale, press down on the tops of the feet, protect the low back, elbows squeezing rib cage, and then maybe fingers hover. Gaze is still down, neck in line with the spine. We're staring at the floor, maybe eyes closed here. Breath is still slow and steady. Next inhale, maybe we're peeling one more rib off of the mat. Another big breath in here. And then as we exhale, slowly lowering. Taking a cheek, finding that little neck stretch as the ankles fall out to the side. Returning chin to the mat. Palms mid-chest. Walking the legs long, and then on an inhale, press down on the tops of the feet. Knees hover. Ribs find their way off of the mat using that back strength. Little to no weight in the hands. Maybe a smile on the face. Maybe one more rib peels off of the mat. And as we exhale, slowly lower with control, taking opposite cheek. Ankles falling out to the side. And chin returns to the mat, elbows squeeze in, legs long. Inhale, rising, baby cobra, press down, tops of the feet, float the hands. Peel a couple ribs off the mat, add that smile. And then just holding right here. Awesome, awesome. One more breath in. And then next exhale, slowly lowering, taking opposite cheek, ankles falling to the side. Returning chin to the mat. Walking the legs long. Next inhale. This time we're pressing down into the palms and we're finding that cobra. Still pressing down on the tops of the feet. Kneecaps are still hovering. Our hips are still on the mat. Arms don't even have to be completely straight here. We can still have elbows squeezed in. We can still have a little bend in the elbow. Just one more breath in here. And then exhale, slowly lower with control. Taking opposite cheek, ankles falling to the side. And from here, we're going to roll on to our favorite side. Just briefly come through that fetal position, knees curling in, and then pressing ourselves up to seated, swinging our legs around front. And then prepare for just one forward fold today. Maybe propping the hips up. We're gonna come right down the middle, and depending on how the hamstrings are feeling, blocks under the knees can feel nice here. We're gonna inhale, both arms up overhead. And then as we exhale, starting with that back flat as far as we can, and then eventually dropping everything down. And when we arrive, just breathing, just the breath. We can do that. If we can just slow down the breath, the body will relax, will deepen, will soften in. And your next inhale. Big, deep three-part breath, filling belly, ribs, and chest. And then on that exhale, beginning to creep forward. Adding a little stretch here, seeing if we can get a little deeper. And each breath, opportunity to create some space. And we can use those inhales to pull the torso away from the hands and feet and sink in on the exhales. We can use the thought. We can use the power of our thoughts to send that breath, send those exhales to those areas of tension. Release them and soften in a little on each exhale. And one more breath in here. One more exhale, creeping forward, sinking in, and then on that inhale, we're slowly uncurling. Rising up one vertebra at a time. Removing any props we may have been using. And one last time, making our way down onto our backs. We can always come down in that bow pose. In that little extra core, we can come down on the elbows too. How are we feeling here at the end of class? But when we arrive, arms out to a T, knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat. We're going to close with our pigeon twist. We're going to start grinding down through that right foot and extending the left leg tall and then crossing left ankle just above right knee. And then as we exhale, we're twisting right, gazing left. And we want to ensure the sole of that left foot is resting comfortably. Maybe the floor, maybe a block or blanket, and then gazing over that opposite shoulder. And we have an option here to relax in this twist. We don't have to do anything. We did good amount with the hip flexors today. If we want to press, not with our hands or anything, just with the leg, press that left knee towards that right ankle. We might get a little extra stretch there. And your next inhale, we begin slowly coming out of this twist, uncurling the spine, letting the sole of that right foot find the mat, extending the left leg up, and slowly lowering it down to meet the right, and then switching sides, raising that right leg up, crossing right ankle just above the left knee. If we found comfort with a prop on the other side, getting that ready, and then as we exhale, we're twisting left, Gazing right, sole of the right foot resting comfortably. And then choosing our intensity on that hip stretch. Maybe pressing that knee away. Our next inhale. And just slowly come out of that twist. When the sole of the left foot finds the mat, we extend that right leg up, slowly lower it down to meet the left, and then maybe finding some windshield wipers. Heel toeing our feet out to the edge, pinky toes finding the wood, and then knees falling left and right. As we even out both sides, reaching for one of our blocks and finding stillness, and then preparing for bridge pose and eventually supported bridge, walking our legs long, feet hip distance apart, knees are still bent. Arms out by our sides, we're walking our shoulder blades together, and then on an inhale, we're pressing our hips up, scooting shoulder blades together a little more, making a little more room, tuck the chin to the chest, pressing those hips up. We're sliding the block underneath the tailbone, and then slowly lowering down. And we are in our inversion. And then we did do some hips today. We want to close with a little hip opener, gentle hip opener. We can bring the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to fall out to the side. Finding that cobbler or butterfly position with the feet and the supported bridge. And then I want you to take any inversion option you wish. From here, we could bring the knees into the chest, find supported legs up the wall. Maybe giving this butterfly, this cobbler, a little try today. You have found comfort right here in this supported bridge. You can stay right here for Shavasana or anytime you wish to come out of your inversion and make your way into a different comfortable position. Please feel free to do so at any time. Beginning to deepen the breath. Bringing movement back to the fingers and toes. We did have it be in that cover. We can bring our hands to the outside of our thighs and gently guide the knees back together. Feeling free to take any additional movements, double knee hug, full body stretch, more windshield wipers, anything at all here. We've gotten that last little bit of tension out. Those last wiggles eventually make our way back to that comfortable seated position. I think we will close with one final inhale. Inhaling both arms up overhead. Gather new energy for the day. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Sealing that in, carrying that with us. And I thank you guys so much for showing up. And any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to speak to me after class. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.